All right, thanks very much. I suspect some more senators will come trickling in. Now, let me start off by just making a few brief points about where we are today and how we got to where we are. This government shutdown is taking place for one simple reason. For the first time in the modern history of our country, the majority party in the Senate, the Republican Party, which needs 60 votes to pass a budget bill to fund the government, is refusing to negotiate. Republicans have 53 votes in the Senate. Democratic caucus has 47. You need 60 votes to pass a budget bill. You have to negotiate. But for the first time in modern history, the Republicans are not negotiating. What they are saying is their way or the highway. They refuse to sit down and talk. And further, in terms of their contempt for the negotiating process, Mike Johnson, the Republican leader in the House, has given his members a 6-week paid vacation. So here we are in the middle of a government shutdown. Workers are not getting paid. People are worried about escalating health care costs. People are being worried about being thrown off the health care they have. And the Republicans in the House are saying, hey, guys, take a 6-week paid vacation. You don't have to be here in Washington, D.C. To me, that is pretty insane. And let me be clear what it would mean if Republicans got their way and this so-called CR, continuing resolution, were to pass. First, it would throw 15 million Americans off the health care they have because of massive cuts to Medicaid and the ACA. And what studies from Yale and the University of Pennsylvania and elsewhere indicate that when you throw 15 million working class and low-income people off the health care they have, 50,000 of them will die unnecessarily every year. So what this legislation is about is whether we vote to allow 50,000 of our fellow Americans to die unnecessarily every year because they were thrown off of Medicaid and the ACA. Further, if the Republicans were to prevail, what it means is that on average, health insurance premiums for the 20 million plus people on the Affordable Care Act on average would double. In my state of Vermont, we have now received information there are some people who would pay a tripling or a quadrupling of their health care premiums when Americans are already paying the highest prices in the world for health care. People cannot afford a doubling or a tripling in their health care premiums. And now what brings us here today, in an absolutely unbelievable way, President Trump is refusing to release the $5 billion in emergency funding for SNAP that helps feed 16 million kids, and that is a direct violation of the law. He is prepared to let millions and millions of children and their parents and grandchildren go hungry because he sees maybe there is a political gain in that. Let there be no mistake, and that is what this statement is about. This is on the U.S. Department of Agriculture website until very recently. The president is legally obligated to use this emergency fund, and up until last week, his administration was preparing to do that. We are here today to send a very loud and a very clear message to President Trump. Obey the law. I know that's a hard concept for the president, but obey the law. Do what Congress mandated you do. Do not let children in America and their parents and grandchildren go hungry. Do not go down as the first president in history to manufacture a hunger crisis in the richest country on earth. Release these funds. Now, the good news is there are at least 11 Republicans in the Senate who are supporting a bipartisan bill to ensure that no one in America goes without the nutrition assistance they need during the shutdown. And that is very good news, and I thank those 11 Republicans. Every Democrat supports that bill as well. That bill, I say to Senator Thune, when you have 11 Republicans and every member of the Democratic caucus on support, that bill should get to the floor immediately. No child in this country should be forced to go hungry. With that, let me introduce Senator